Hi, this is Coach Parker. Welcome back to my series on my youth football defense, the 6-2 multi-8. I've had one video in the series so far, an intro video. Today we're going to talk more about the formations and how to move in and out of the 6-2 multi-8 and all that good stuff. So let's talk about the formations again. We went over a little bit of these in the last video, but there's about I guess 10 to 15 different formations that you're able to move in and out of by moving 3 or 4 people around. And the reason it's called a 6-2 multi-8 is the base defense is a 6-2, and we move kind of 8 people around, thus the multi-8. But as you can see here, it seems like a lot, but to be honest with you, you can use 2 or 3 of the formations, all of the formations, and whatever your age group or football IQ talent allows you to do. But this last season, we used basically all of these formations here with a 10 and 11 age group team and got to the Super Bowl. Only allowed 13 points total for the entire season to be scored on us. So worked out really well. I've used this system over the last 10 years, been developing it, and has worked really good for me. So let's get right into it. Here, the first formation we've got, which is my base formation, and it's the reason it's called the 62 multi-8, is really the 6-2 wide and the 6-2 tight. Or kind of the base formations, front man sets that we use. And as you can see here, the 6-2 wide tackle, I call my base formation, which the call is a fist. That's my hand signal for base, or I yell base. This is our basic run defense, which I set up on all the age groups. Works out great, has been very strong for us. Very strong C gap sweep defense. You're a little weak in the B gaps due to the linebackers sitting there. You've got kind of a gap there. You can call a bomber blitz for a B gap blitz for the linebackers if need be, which kind of can strengthen those up. It is weak for deep passes. You can move into a cover 3 to help that out, or actually drop the defensive ends into outside linebackers. And move into kind of a 4-4. Your A-gap can either be weak or strong, really depends on who you're playing there. We play a lot of minimum play players in those gaps. So it's a little weak at the first of the game, and as we rotate larger kids in there, it definitely gets stronger. But as you can see, that 6-2 wide tackle is what I shift back into and what we basically start out before I make the call at the line of scrimmage when the offense comes up, before we move into a different formation. And I do make calls once I see what the offense is doing, and I'll make a call into the near corner and the near linebacker, and they'll make the call, and we'll make our initial shift. We shift in. You can go into a 6-2 tight, which basically you can see here these 2 tackles just went from here and they moved into here. And it's really that simple for the tackles. And then the linebackers from the wide went from here to here. So basically the tackles and the linebackers shifted. I use this a lot on short yardage situations when I need to shore up the A-B gaps, when I think they're running a quick dive. Again, it's weak on you're kind of weak on deep passes. A-gap is definitely stronger there. We have a call big guns, which we sub in, which our defensive tackles move to the nose guard positions, and so it gives us a little beefier in the A gaps there, so you can call that. But that's a quick shift, and it makes the offense, I mean, just those 2 alone are a big shift for offenses. Just moving back into the 6-2 wide and the 6-2 tight is a great defensive scheme if you just want to run 2 base formations. This tight and wide tackle, 6-2, works out really great because it hides kind of where your weak gap is between the B and the C. It looks like, the C is a little bit weaker because the linebackers are backed off. the Y tackle, the B, was a little weaker. So so that's the tight. We move into a double wide 6-2, which is real simple again. Basically, it's just linebackers and the nose guards moving. As you can see, these nose guards, they were here in the A gap. Now they move into B gap, and our linebackers basically move to A gappers. And I think this is called a split 6, actually. So you can see how you're not really moving a whole lot of people around in this different 6-2 configuration. It's just the linebackers and your nose guards here in this particular set. So that you can see how that moved. They were here, and then they just move out there in the double wide. The linebacker went from here to here. You're definitely a lot stronger. I like to call this when I know they're going to run off-tackle sweeps. Very strong set. You can also blitz one of the linebackers or both of them up the middle in this. Or you can even blitz the Fred, the free safety, in there. And to be honest, on any of these 6-2 sets, especially at younger ages, what you can do is use the Fred as a monster back and basically change the 6-2 into a 6-3 and basically blitz Fred all over the place, which is what I do a lot at kind of 5 and 6 and 7-year-old age groups. And that works out good because there's not a lot of threat of passing there. But as you can see, with these 4, 6, or let's see, there's 3 6-2 sets here. The wide tackle, the tight, and the double wide. Those 3 quick moves are a really good transition to make any offensive coordinator give them a headache. So even though I've got like 15 different formations, just this base 6-2 set formation really works out nice for these 3 transitional formations into this. And the next formation, which is a still, you're basically just helping out a little back, and I use this kind of in a short yardage pass coverage, or if I think I need more help in the C and the B gaps with some more linebackers, I can move into a quick 4-4 split, which the 4 down linemen are basically stay the same, and my D ends just step back into outside linebacker positions, and then we're sitting there reading. So as you can see, that 6-2 now, really quickly, just moving just a couple of personnel around, not a whole lot of movement here. You can move into 4 different little 6-2 kind of sets, and I call it a 6-2 loose here. And I've got, or you can call it 6-2 owl, which is the owls, the 2 outside linebackers, they're reading now, so they step back instead of blitzing. So you can see that. So they were here in the regular 6-2, and now in the 6-2 loose, they just drop back. And you're basically in a 4-4 really quick, which works out great. And then real simple to move into a gap 8 is everybody was basically setting in, let's say they were in a tight formation, which these guys were just setting back like that. In a 6-2 tight, all the linebackers do is basically come up here, get in the C gaps. Your 2 outside linebackers are blitzing, and then you've got your 3 defensive backs here to play here. So you can see how quickly you can move from this 6-2 into all these different little 6-2 variations, and then right into a gap 8 here. So let me show you how that would work from, so if I was in this 6-2, so here's just a 6-2 multi-tackle. Let's go ahead and set up in wide. So here they are in a wide here. So that's a 6-2 wide right here, and if you called, let's say, a 6-2 tight, they just move down, these guys move down here, and these guys move out. And then let's say you called the gap 8, all these guys do is move up. Those DNs were in the owl back there. But so then you're in a quick gap 8 right there, and then I can move back, and let's say I want to move into a tight. They just step back, and then let's say I want to move into double wide. Those guys just move out. Those guys move in. Let's say I want to move into a double wide. Those guys move there, and these guys move here. It's actually really, really quick to do that. So you can see out of the 6'2 base, kind of out of the 6'2 multi-wide, you can move into a 6'2 wide tackle, which is the base. Kind of, that's our base call. And then out of the 6'2 base formation, you've got the tight, the double wide, the 6'2 loose or 4-4 split there. And then you've got the gap 8, which really, really works out well. And then another formation, especially I use quite a bit for goal line and at younger ages, is the 70 diamond. And it's really quick. Everybody's pretty much, you know, and normally the linebacker would be sitting here in that split 6 kind of formation, as you could just see in the double wide. In the 70, all he does is drop down as a nose guard, and the rover steps up like that. And so that's a really quick, you pretty much got all gaps contained. If you got a big nose guard that control this middle gap here, you can move into this 70 defense really great. And I love this defense for 5, 6, and 7-year-olds and some 8-year-old rec teams. I love the 70 defense, especially if you've got a really strong middle linebacker here and a smart Fred. You can move, you know, into kind of like this umbrella formation and stagger these guys or move them up or whatever. But this actually works out really good. You can have these guys help out more on contain kind of thing. But that's the 70, and you can see how you got into that really quick. If you were sitting into that double wide formation, which we were just in, from a 6'2 double wide, all he does is step up there into the nose guard position, and these guys basically become linebackers or strong safeties here. So that's the 70 out of that. And then really out of the 6'2 wide tackle, what I had going on is I had like Cobra blitzes for these guys in the C gaps and bomber blitzes like that. And I was doing that quite a bit and works, and those are great calls. And so a friend of mine was running this 3-3 stack, and I was like, well, that's just basically my bomber and Cobra blitzes. So I was like, hey, I'll just run this 3-3 stack as a blitz, and then started running that. So you could see basically the D tackles just head up the nose guard, and then the gunner, the rover, and the Mike just stack up. Now you can have your DNs drop back into owl. You can have this kind of cover 2, you know, Fred linebacker thing. I call this actually a magnum set with these D linebackers and everything backed up. But this is a great blitzing package out of the 6'2 wide tackle, is to move into this little quick set and blitz all those gaps. The other thing, you know, if you're into that 3-3 stack and all of a sudden they come out in kind of a passing formation, or it looks like that, you can call 33 stack Lucy, and it basically drops these these guys that were stacked up, it drops them back. So you can move into a 5-3 really quick from there. The other thing in this this 33 stack, these guys were sitting here. I call this a 45 because I'm stacking over the 4 and the 5 hole. These guys right here, they just unstack, and I've got 2 linebackers stacked up. And I really love this formation right here, especially if they're in a wishbone or a short yardage I situation. This 45 stack magnum thing works out really good with linebackers backed up and the corners, and this Fred here as a linebacker. So that works out really good too. See what I got out. Okay, if you got a weak center here, this is just where I'm stacking the 2 linebackers, or just another basically blitz. I call it blackjack for 21 stack because I'm stacked on the 2 and the 1 hole. I just stack up over the nose and the gunner here with the 2 linebackers, move Fred up a little bit, and I can basically blitz this A and B gap pretty hard. If we get into a passing situation, I don't run these passing formations until really they get till 10, 11 kind of age groups, because you're just not going to get a whole lot of passing going on. But if you've got something like that, or if you've got a good quarterback at one of the younger ages and you want to put in kind of a base pass defense, this is it. So you can see, we were in so the 6-2 would be like here with the two linebackers, right? So 6-1, the rover just drops back into another free safety. And that's basically all the 6-1 air does here, as you can see that. This is a great little formation. You're a little weak here in the middle, but the 6-1 air works out great. And you can drop this guy into like a Tampa or have him come up into a short yardage linebacker. And you can also drop these guys back if you want to help out in underneath passes a little bit. Another passing formation, the 5-2 Dragon. Basically the gunner, who is a hybrid kind of person, nose guard, linebacker, he drops back into a linebacker position. I go with three basically big guys, head up there. The rover dropped back over here. Mike came over here. Gunner came back. So now basically I'm just running a 5-2 monster kind of thing here. And that's really easy to drop into. And then from there you can easily drop into a cowboy for a spread kind of thing. You already had the rover or the Mike sitting here. So Mike just goes out here, the gunner sitting in here at one linebacker. So you're kind of running a 3-3-5 a little bit, and the Fred's over the top here. You're playing manned up there. And I usually run this for 11, 12-year-olds here when they move into a spread. And then we've put this in for a heavy-duty passing team the last couple of seasons. We've seen some better quarterbacks come in our senior division for 12, 13-year-olds. And this is, it's basically a 43, and I call it the pick six. Basically, one of your linebackers, your strong side or wide side, outside linebacker DN becomes one of kind of a nickel back here. Strong safety. Your D tackle, if he can play DN, you find one of your D tackles, they can play DN or sub. He's now a D tackle. Your short side D end here. So you're definitely weak up the middle. The gunner's playing middle linebacker there, and then you've got all this coverage here. So as you can see, those are all the formations, and I ran all of those this season. I've run a majority of those every season. So as you can see, you've got the 6-2 wide tackle, the tight tackle, the double wide, the 6-2 loose, which also can be run out of a kind of a 6-3 formation with Fred as a monster. Those are all great base formations along with the gap 8. Those are easily, you're able to move in and out of those without moving too many people. This 3-3 and 45 stack and 21 stack were blitzes that I was already doing with the linebackers with an Apache A-gap call or a bomber call or a Cobra call to the C-gap blitzes. These are just double kind of blitzes with those linebackers and their stack, which it makes it really difficult for offenses. So that just really incorporated easily the stack because I was already running basically blitzes that were very similar to those things. The 70 diamond is definitely kind of a hybrid there. I've run that at younger ages. I like that combined with the gap 8 and the 6-2 wide tackle. Kind of run that back and forth. And then these four defenses over here, if you move it, if you've got some passing teams, you can move into these and use those to help out with your pass defense. So that's what I ran this last season and the last couple of seasons, all of those. Now, here are some of the defensive calls that I make during games. You can see all of that, and we'll talk about that on the next video. But hopefully I haven't confused you too much on how we move in and out of all of these formations, and we'll talk about these more. But really, like I said, the 6-2 multi-8 is really based on a base 6-2 formations, and then having 8 players that kind of move in and out of different other defensive variation formations that are easily moved in and out of a 6-2 wide tackle base. And so there you have it. If you've got any questions, leave me some in the comments. If you like this video, please like it. If you didn't, please mark that too, so we know what's going on. But love to hear your comments. If you like to get more, you can always check out CoachParker.org, which is my blog over at WordPress, and would love to hear from you there. So stay tuned for the next video. Hopefully I'll get another one up this week, and hope you're having a great day. Again, remember to play for fun, and winning is funner. Thanks a lot, and have a great day.